Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome to the inaugural video of Dweeb Culture. Down here, as always, to this side is my fellow dweeb, Mitch. Say hi, Mitch.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And over here to my left, we have Cole, another dweeb. Say hi, Cole. Oh, you are muted. Let's see if we can unmute that.
My bad. What's up, guys?
All right, our first technical difficulty on our inaugural channel here.
Perfect, I love it.
I took a sip of wine and I totally forgot.
At least this time it was a technical difficulty we could blow through, and we know.
Hey, it should also be clarified that we are Dweeb Culture. The show is Dweeb Reviews.
The show is Dweeb Reviews, and we are Dweeb Culture. And we are doing our first ever review on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That is the official title. It is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I tried to look up a bunch of times, and it was confirmed on every single source. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But yeah, super exciting. The very first, well, not the very first. I guess the second piece that we've gotten as a Disney release. Is that correct?
Yeah,
the MCU.
Disney Plus, definitely. It's their second release after WandaVision, which was also good. We may get to that down the road. I don't know. But it's just really exciting to see the MCU moving forward, man.
No kidding. Yeah. Especially, so this takes place, Mitch, tell us a little bit about when this takes place.
So my understanding is they only gave the general guide of several months after Endgame. So we're looking at like 2023 to 2024 as far as the actual year. Now, obviously, they've diverted so much off of real history now that it's in its own timeline, own history, own world, its own circumstances. So it doesn't really matter what the year is. But
it's kind of like the multiverse going on over on the DC EU happening.
Yeah, kind of. So it's
after Endgame.
Yeah, it's after Endgame.
And all the 4 billion people or whatever have come back. And everybody's back, and so this is kind of what's happening after everyone's returned.
Yeah, which I'm sure we'll get into during it, but you know, for our purposes together as the audience and the reviewers, it seems like they have actually coined a name for the event now, and they keep referring to it as the blip. That's what I kept hearing them say. Was that similar to you guys? Yep. The blip. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like anytime they're going to refer to the blip, they're talking about the time period for 5 years of people being removed from existence and then re-entering.
I was going to say, and you know what? In my experience, blips are typically pretty short. This was a 5-year blip, so I would kind of upgrade that to the gap or maybe the void or something.
Too. Wasn't it 4 actually?
I'm pretty sure 5.
Yeah, I think it's always been 5.
For some reason, I thought 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
In any case, super excited about this one. We all watched it, and we just watched it, and we took notes, and we're excited to talk about it. This is the first time we're talking about it since it's come out. I actually wrote a little haiku synopsis of the episode. So I might start doing that at the beginnings, just little haikus. That way everybody can kind of know what episode we're talking about, because I like it when people do that.
So this becomes kind of a, quasi mixture YouTube, podcast, Def Jam, poetry.
That's right, exactly.
Open mic.
And if there's enough...
Winter Soldier is here. Can't you hear that I love...
I love it. Exactly, and if there's enough demand for it, maybe it turns into a rap, maybe it turns into its own whole production. But in any case, all right, so this is my haiku synopsis of the episode of A New World Order. Badass Falcon flies, broken Winter Soldier lies, new captain will arise. No, new captain will rise. Arise is 6 syllables. New captain will rise. Haikus are 5, 7, 5. 7, 5. Badass Falcon flies. Broken Winter Soldier lies. Ah, shit.
Crap.
All right, I did not do very well in English class, so I could have sworn that made sense when I wrote it down.
All right, all the literature majors and English teachers, please sound off in the comments below.
Well,
I speak it pretty good.
To read his first novel, so I mean,
yeah,
a little bit of slack.
Indeed, that's true. I read my first novel last year.
That's true. If someone can't read, how can we expect them to write? Really, it's just unfair.
That's the quote of the episode right there. All right. So anyway, so let's get to this. Let's get to this review. I don't know about you guys, but when I started playing it and I heard the Marvel music come on, the dun 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 dun, it was exciting. I love hearing that music because it means that I'm about to watch something that is produced and done really well.
Yeah, super exciting, but like to be honest, I was used to it after watching WandaVision. So I mean, but yeah, still, I mean that intro always gets you.
For me, the MCU has earned essentially my implicit trust in it. So yeah, I mean, starting off the show just like they start the movies with that standard Marvel intro and the music leading into it, it already sets the tone for what you're going to get into. And I know we're going to talk about it in the episode, but really Marvel has it down to a formula now.
Yeah, they do. It's so good. It just everything they do is just highly produced and highly thought out. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So we enter the very first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And the first thing we see is is Falcon in what looks to be his bedroom or maybe a hotel or something. And you see the Captain America shield on his bed. And I thought that was super cool. It also looked brand new to me. It was completely clean of anything broken or damaged or dented or anything that had happened to it before.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get a present like that, you're not going to keep it all dirty and everything. But yeah, we basically see, the Falcon contemplating over this gift that Steve Rogers gave him, the potential mantle he might take up. And yeah,
I think it sets the tone for the show. I mean, we kind of saw it with the logo already. The imagery on the logo itself, when it says the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, has that shield right there. Essentially, this show, in my estimation anyways, is the interlude to establish the new Captain America. We have the Falcon, we have the Winter Soldier. They're kind of their own characters, but really, what are they? They're runner-up Captain Americas, and we're going to figure out who becomes Captain America.
Yeah, and I feel that's like kind of the sense of coming out with this and everything. It's like, oh, shit, at the end of Endgame, he gave the shield to him. One of them's going to be Captain America. And, if you read the comics, you know that both of them go through a phase of being Captain America. But, yeah, Mitch, you can talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But, and, yeah, that's just kind of like who's going to take up the mantle type of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was shocking to see that Falcon didn't immediately kind of turn into Captain America, and actually kind of looks like he's holding back a little bit. In any case, the next scene that we see is Falcon on the plane. And he's speaking to one of his fellow comrades, or I guess comrades is Russian. So he's speaking to one of his fellow soldiers. And we are introduced to this new organization called LAF, which kind of seems like it's a terrorist type of organization. And Falcon's on the plane, and his mission, should he choose to accept it, is to retrieve a important informant or somebody of the sort, somebody of status that the LAF has captured, and he does so in spectacular manner.
Yes, and just to clarify, we don't know what LAF stands for.
Mitch,
in my research from the comics, I've not found any organization that's similar to LAF. I couldn't find anything online for LAF, but I will remind us that it's not actually a new organization. This is the same organization that Captain America faces in the very opening scene of Captain America the Winter Soldier. And we actually see George St. Pierre, who plays George, I believe, Vassant. Nope, sorry, not George Vassant. George Batroc, Batroc. And they refer to him as Batroc in this episode. But he is the villain that Captain America faces in the beginning of Winter Soldier when he infiltrates that ship, the ship that's been hijacked. He jumps out of a plane without a parachute. He goes all the way down into the water, breaking his fall with the shield, climbs aboard the ship, and then fights all the soldiers. Those are members of LAF. Their leader, who is, probably one of the greatest of all time MMA Fighters, George St. Pierre, plays George Batroc, which is also, my understanding, a custom character created for the MCU, not actually based off a comic character.
I wonder if he picked the name Batroc. I wonder if he picked his own name. If he picked it.
So they did keep his first name, because his first name, it's French, right? So it's Georges. It's Georges. And his character's name is also George, spelled as such. Batroc or Batroc. I pardon, or please forgive me, my French-speaking audience that knows that I'm butchering whatever it's supposed to say. But he's the villain. And man, guys, what an awesome action scene! I mean, big budget for a television show. I mean, it's essentially
MCU.
Show, right?
I mean,
so that was what was amazing to me, is that opening scene looked exactly like it was in the Winter Soldier. The cinematography for this episode, I hope they keep it up and everything. The high budget, obviously,
they got it.
But it is movie quality cinematography. I felt like I was watching an Avengers movie, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like during that scene, I was like, "Oh, damn, a parachute gunfight." When was the last time we saw that in James Bond
Never.
or something?
Yeah, never, dude. Not like that. Yeah. There's the Iron Man rescue part in one of the Iron Mans, but yeah, that's true. They so they introduced this character. I don't know if it's going to actually be a character that's important or not. They introduced Captain Vassant, and he's the one that's been kidnapped by the LAF, and he's a military liaison, but they don't really give you more details than that, other than, hey, soldier, go rescue him, and now we're going to get in a flying chase, a high-speed flying chase, absent planes, where we go forward. I did have a very quick thing I wanted to talk with you guys, which is about the Falcons' equipment that is demonstrated in this action scene.
The Red Wing.
So Red Wing we'll talk about in a moment. Apparently, he has X-ray goggles because he's able to see the positioning of the people on the ship, or on the plane. Thermal, something, right?
All that shit.
But really a little bit more than thermal, because it can see through the metal plating of the plane.
I'm saying like all types of tech that Stark.
That's all. That's all Stark tech. I mean, I don't even question technology at this point anymore.
He has his wings that are at least bulletproof, let alone whatever else.
Yeah.
He doesn't apparently have any controls for his wings, so I don't know if they interface directly into his spine, into his nervous system, or what's going on. But he just freely controls them like they're a limb.
Yeah. Somehow.
He has the Red Wing drone. Now, the Red Wing drone is AI equipped, but doesn't speak. At least not to us. It might speak to him. It has missiles, and it has a machine gun turret on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the Winter Soldier, didn't the Falcon carry guns in his hands?
He did. He definitely did.
Yeah.
It was a little odd to me, and I get it. It's Disney Plus. Maybe they're trying to aim for a younger audience, but it was a little odd to me that Falcon goes into firefights like, cool, all I need is my wings, bro. But then his drone is equipped with missiles. So on one hand, they're not really against killing people. I mean, he deflects a bullet that kills the driver. Sorry, the pilot of the plane.
Oh, I thought that pilot was already dead. Was that not the same pilot?
One was already dead, and one guy.
The other just so the LAF soldier that took control. Remember, he dies from a bullet that flies through his head. That's from a deflection. But Falcon enters into the combat like, nah, I got my hands, I got my wings, I'm good. Of course, when he deploys the Red Wing, then it missiles the crap out of helicopters and whatnot.
Well, think of the practical reasons. I mean, can't like holster those guns all the time.
Well, also keep in mind, think about the suit that Tony Stark gave Spider-Man. I mean, that tech exists. That the ability for the Spider-Man suit to crawl out and kind of do stuff. It's the nano, right? It's the all-encompassing nanoparticles. The nanotech, right? So
I'm with Michael. Like
yeah, that's at this point. I mean, hey, Mitch, we know they're at least 1 year ahead of us. Maybe we make great strides in technology over the next year.
We know they have cool shit.
This is definitely a lapse in my own knowledge of this, but it's not Stark tech, right? Because they say it's like Stark tech, but correct me if I'm wrong. Stark did not create the Hawkeye suit?
Well, it's reasonable to
Hawkeye?
assume that Stark definitely suited him up more because he funded the
Upgraded him?
Avengers. Yeah.
I would say Stark's nanotech infused everything. I think, well,
Okay.
and Wakanda, right? You have to kind of assume that Wakanda shared their adamantium, right? So you have to kind of assume that.
I mean, we'll talk about
But there's nothing
Wakanda
direct
later with the Winter Soldier, because he ties directly to Wakanda.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Falcon spent much time in Wakanda.
Well, they all hung out
He
together,
did.
so you would have kind of imagined they should. Well, Wakanda shared their tech with the world, right? That was the whole point of the Black Panther movie. At the end of the movie, they shared their tech, so you kind of got to assume after a couple of years, especially 5, seeing as how everybody was gone.
I think his premise in Winter Soldier started off as an experimental group of soldiers.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's received upgrades since. That's probably not just standard U.S. military tech at this point.
It's just that Falcon didn't get his own movie, so we didn't get to see all.
Yeah.
In any case, I thought the flying through the canyon scene was super cool. It kind of sucks. They threw a bunch of missiles and stuff at it. Those were beautiful geological formations that they were just ravishing and destroying. So I felt very bad about that.
For our viewers that do not know, Michael has a earth science background.
I do. So it really struck me. I almost turned the movie off at that point because I'm like. Anyway, so after the amazing fight scene that started off the movie, essentially, we got into the kind of like a marketplace where after Falcon has succeeded his mission and has captured and recaptured the troop.
Mind if I interrupt for one short
go ahead.
moment?
Yeah.
The only thing that we left out of importance is they also introduce in this scene Torres, who is a military intel officer who it looks like is going to be a pretty big secondary character on this show. My understanding is we've not seen him before. I think this is his first show.
Torres is the person he meets with in the marketplace, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I really like the Torres character. I think that's a great addition.
He seems pretty cool, and it sounds like he's going to have a somewhat large role going into this.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so they're sitting in the marketplace and they're kind of talking and everything, and Falcon is trying to reassemble and revive his tech, and Torres is kind of talking to him about it, and they have a really funny statement about conspiracy theories and whatnot, as people are prone to do. A conspiracy theory that Steve Rogers, the former Captain America, is up in the moon and washing down on the Earth, which is kind of a really funny conspiracy theory.
I mean, what's better to believe? I mean, time travel and then grew old, or living on the moon.
And we already know billions of other planets and stuff exist in this world, so sure, why not? Why not have Steve live on the moon? All right, so we get past that. So super cool meeting, first kind of big FaceTime screen with Torres, and then we move on.
They do two things very briefly.
Go ahead.
One, they talk about the flag smashers that'll make a appearance later. Yep. So this is our first kind of intro. They talk about the LAF being a organization that's capitalizing on the chaos created from the blip to make money. And then they bring up, the LAF's bad. That's one thing. But the flag smashers are a radical group that believes that the world was better with the blip, with what Thanos had done with the snap. And then that's all they kind of give us.
Are we gonna have Thanos followers now? Like kind of
something, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And just the fact that they're pretty organized with the cell apps and whatnot.
Exactly.
You're
talking about social media integration into kind of how everybody's coalescing, which is kind of a cool feature. And you got to be right. You got to think to some degree the government's using are all the social media platforms that are being used to plan things. You got to think the government's got eyes on that, right? So they kind of bring up some issues in the show as well, pretty intelligently. Anyway, so we're moving on, and then the next scene is Falcon at the Smithsonian, and he does a huge reveal, or at least reveal to us, the audience. I don't know if it's necessarily revealed to the people inside the world, but he does a big reveal that he's not going to take on the Captain America shield and become Captain America.
Yeah.
That is something people have speculated for a long time. In the comic books, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comic books, both Falcon and Winter Soldier have both picked up the mantle of Captain America. Correct, Mitch?
Yes. Falcon, Winter Soldier, and we'll talk about it at the end. But other characters have also picked up the role of Captain America, which might hint lead into something at the end. I did have a very quick question.
Yeah.
So between the last scene and this scene, does this confirm that the world thinks that Steve Rogers is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I would say so.
At least when I was watching it, and I saw it twice just to prepare for this, I didn't really see anybody expressly say Captain America is dead. Yeah. But it sounds like that's kind of what
I think the general
what the current belief is.
The general thought is that, I think if they're having conspiracy theories where Steve is on the moon. Clearly, he's not present with everybody. He's definitely not present. And then you have then Falcon has his shield, and he's given it to the Smithsonian, kind of retiring him, right? So it kind of makes sense that everybody thinks that he's gone and not.
So the world thinks he's dead, not just retired. We're talking dead.
Yeah, but that's what as the show goes, who knows? Maybe we'll see that actor again. He'll pop up like Nick Fury as throughout the movies.
I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah,
very true.
Speculation is up in the air.
So there was a really cool quote that I just jotted down because I really like this quote that the Falcon said when he was right before he handed over the shield. His quote was, "Symbols are nothing without the men and women that give them meaning." So I thought that was a really cool quote. I thought that was really, really well done.
Oh, yeah. And we get our first cameo, War Machine.
Yes, we do. Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
As Sam. No, not Sam. What's his name?
That's Falcon's name. Rhodey.
That's right.
James Rhodes.
We get Don Cheadle in there and War Machine and Falcon talking, and they are inside of what is really cool, the Captain America kind of exhibit. And super cool. You got to see a bunch of the old props from the old movies. And they kind of talked to him about him a little bit, and they even raised the question. War Machine even raises the question, which everybody at that second was thinking. We all thought you were going to take up the mantle. Like, why didn't you take up the mantle? And his response to that was the same as the first time. It feels like somebody else owns this. It belongs to somebody else, and so that's why he gave it up.
AKA the theme for the show is established in this one scene where they discuss what we're all thinking. You're absolutely right. This show really, we're assuming that this is the show that establishes the new Captain America, whoever it may be. It's pretty clear. Yeah, it's pretty clear that Steve wanted Falcon to be it. But and like I said, we might talk about WandaVision later on in a different series or whatever. But as we've seen already with WandaVision, things might not go how we expected.
That's true.
So who knows?
My obvious prediction for this one is this is where I think it's going to go. Obviously, is I think this whole show is going to line up to be Falcon taking on the Shield. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Disney's done a couple things to surprise me before, so it could be. It could be.
So who knows, dude?
I really like the poster. But I wrote it down. I really like the poster. I want you to buy war bonds now.
From the first Captain America movie.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on to the next scene. In the next scene, we have what we at the time we didn't realize, but was a dream sequence. It was a PTSD dream sequence by the Winter Soldier, where he breaks into a facility and kills a bunch of people and says "Hail Hydra" right as he kills them. I'm just gonna give a quick note. I actually like Sebastian Stan better with the long hair than I do with the short hair. I think he looks more badass. Yeah. I think he looks a lot cooler with the long hair.
He looks like the Winter Soldier. I mean, that's more authentic character. But we should note, this is a dream, but it's also a memory, and that plays really big into this next scene. This is a memory or a nightmare of something that he did when he was brainwashed.
Yep, very true.
Correct.
And so after he breaks into the facility and does another kind of Winter Soldier, beginning of the movie Winter Soldier scene where he's just tearing through people and busting them up. Their choreography, whoever their choreography person is definitely earning their money. It's done so well.
Oh, yeah, great.
The next scene is him waking up in a sweat or in his bed, and it's modern day. And then he fast forwards into a therapy session, and it is revealed that he is pardoned, but he's only pardoned under certain conditions. And one of those conditions is that he has to attend these therapy sessions. Wait, you say there's
Well, no.
Well, I have
three rules.
I have the three rules. I have the three rules.
Okay.
But one of the
that's the
conditions,
therapist
one of the
that's
conditions is that
that's
he has to attend these
not
therapy
legal, but
sessions.
Well,
And
it's
then he
but-
gives them three rules. The three rules for making amends is how they phrase it. And the first rule is we'll give Cole a pop quiz. Cole, what is the first rule?
All right. Is it not breaking the law? I know that's one of them.
Yes.
Nothing
And then-
illegal.
Can't do
That
anything
is the
illegal.
first rule.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then second one, not hurting anyone. Third one
Nobody gets hurt.
is something.
And the third one was a little bit more ambiguous, but it was essentially it was him. It was-
that's right.
It was him asking for forgiveness, essentially. So
Yeah.
the line that he says is to the girl that he breaks into in modern day. He says, "I'm Bucky Barnes. Pardon my efforts to make amends." Is what he says.
So what he actually says to the lady, because it's doing this dual phase thing where it's showing the
rules and the actions.
It's showing the rules. It's showing the counseling session. It's also showing a flashback about him arresting or assisting in the arrest of a Hydra allied senator or congressman, something like that.
Somebody,
Senator,
some big politician, and apparently this is what he did.
And what
the
he
last
tells
weekend.
her is he says, "I am no longer the Winter Soldier. I am James Bucky Barnes, and you are a part of my effort to make amends."
Oh, is that what
So,
he says?
Yes.
Ah.
So it is an apology, but really, of course, in that one instance, he's not talking about apologizing to that lady. It's more of an apology for creating.
Oh,
that
and
lady.
by the way,
It's-
what about
It's
that
his
tech?
program of getting better.
What about
You know?
that tech where he
12
just
steps,
takes
whatever.
this little device, shoves it underneath the car, and now he owns the car? Like,
that's
huh?
Michael, NFTs, bro.
Is that a
Pretty
real
sure
thing?
It's NFT. No, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I'm like, gee, okay, I'm completely unaware of modern technology.
Yeah, I
if
know.
that thing's
Yeah,
real.
I know.
I know. How does he
NFTs
get,
have to
get
do
his
with
hands on this
cryptocurrency.
tech?
I'm just making it up.
No, but how does he get his hands on this tech? He's just like
I mean, that's a
stole
good point.
some car controlling device randomly.
He's a spy. He's a spy. He can get whatever
Yeah,
he wants.
You kind of have to remember that in this universe, it's technology can do magical stuff so long as it looks advanced.
Exactly. As long as it has hollow displays, it's good to go.
As long as there's like a flashing light on it, they're like,
Yeah.
makes sense. Magic.
It
So-
can control a plane.
So after the therapist scene, we see him talking to an older Asian fellow, and says, "Hey,
Yori, Y-O-R-I, Yori.
Yori," and he asks, "Hey, you know what? It's a Tuesday or whatever day it is, and hey, we usually get lunch at about this time. There was a little scuffle happening before then. Somebody was putting somebody else's trash in their bin, and it's just a little feud to introduce Bucky as the peacemaker." So he takes Yuri out to lunch, and at lunch, Yuri gets him a date. Basically, acts as his perfect match. And
at this point, I'm guessing, hey, is this the Asian dude that was in Captain America's crew from the Captain America movie, the first Avenger?
is that
To be
And-
fair, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
what'd you
I thought
say,
this was
Mitch?
his old bud
You're-
from the war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
was
See,
wrong, but I thought it was his old
Yeah.
bud.
I was honestly at this point, I was completely confused. I had no idea what was happening at this point.
Because
I'm like,
that would have made sense. Like, that wouldn't
Yes.
have been too bad of
So
a writing.
Michael brings up a point though that's very fair. While I'm a big fan of the Winter Soldier, I'm really excited to see his storyline. I personally feel like this scene and the follow-up scene where he's on the date were too much. They spend a lot of time building into his guilt for what he did as the Winter Soldier, but we kind of already got that idea from the flashback and the therapist.
So that's why
but at the same time it's still showing like what he's been up to.
So that's why this was good to me when I didn't realize what was happening. That's why this was good to me, because it looked like he was just, trying to get himself back into society, right? After fighting all these wars and all this Thanos and all this blah, 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 blah. He's trying to get himself back into society. So he's a little misfit, right? He doesn't really quite know where he is, and he befriends Yuri, and that's the one person he can kind of trust and hang out with. So he's doing that, and he goes in and goes on the date, gets a date. And I thought this show kind of did a good job highlighting the struggle that he's having integrating himself back into society. So I thought it was a personal development until I realized what it actually was, and then I'm like, and then I do agree with you, Mitch. But if they didn't add that part, and I guess I might as well tell you what I'm talking about. He's on the date at this point, and he's actually we're skipping a little bit of ahead, but that's fine.
It's not skipping anything important to do this. To just jump to the date.
So
his follow up is the date.
So his follow up is the date essentially, and I'll actually do a quick mention. The real follow up was like a 1-minute scene with Falcon and his sister. Falcon went missing for 5 years. His sister was there taking care of the family business and the house mortgage payments, even though Falcon owned half of each. The sister was left to take care of everything.
It's the Bubba Gump shrimp.
If you don't mind, I would like to talk about this scene after.
Yeah. So
break the date. And there is like
there's a lot more to talk about. Weird. There's a lot more to talk about with that one. So I just wanted to remind everybody that was literally the next scene, but it was only like a 1-minute cutaway, so we can get more into that one later. So the following scene was the date, and so he's on the date, and they're playing drinking games. They're playing Drinking Battleship, which is kind of funny. That the game that he has to play to escape his life is Battleship, which is about destroying ships and carriers and stuff that he's done, So
it's a war game. It's a war game
for
a guy that's lived his entire life in war.
And literally the point of this date was to get outside of himself, and he gets drawn back in with something as simple as just Battleship, and that was obviously something that not necessarily was spoken out or addressed inside the show, but as a third party outside observer, you can kind of see, so he's trying to get out, but he's not able to get out.
And really the big reveal in this scene is just that they explain who Yori was. They introduce Yori like he's just a friend, and then the scene explains Yori is the father of the researcher that he killed in his dream. So the first nightmare that you see, he's the Winter Soldier. He breaks into this building. It's not really clear if it's a library or a school or what, but he fights a bunch of other security people that are in this building and then kills the researcher. Yori is this researcher's father. His friendship with Yori is presumably, it doesn't say this, but it's presumably a part of his attempt to make amends for what he's done.
Yeah, because it gives a shot to his list of people to cross off who he's making amends with.
My argument for why this was why this was a little bit too much is just that he meets with Yori. He gets set up on this date. He actually walks out on the date early because of the guilt that he feels when she explains to him there can't be anything worse in the world than a parent losing their child. That's why there's no, you call a child that loses his parents orphans. You call a husband that loses his wife a widower, but there's no name for a parent that loses their child. And it's a powerful scene, sure. He does run back to Yori's house. He sees Yori praying at an altar to his son. It tells you, that's who Yori is. But ultimately, if you look at the scene breakdown of this episode, we're talking about a third of the episode being dedicated to just the general idea that the Winter Soldier feels guilty for what he's done in the past. That's why I said it felt like a little much.
And so that's and I completely agree with you. So that I wish they would have I kind of they kind of beat that on the head a little bit. I kind of wish they would have not connected the two, but I liked the parts before I knew what he was doing. I really enjoyed it because it looked like he was just trying to fit himself in any way he can. And then at the end of it, it's like, oh, he's making amends. Okay, we've already had a full therapy session on this, like, and a PTSD dream. Like, no, I agree. That
well, I will say with any show though, it needs like a starting point with development that might act a little slower at first. And let's remember, the show is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so he's got to make up half the airtime somehow. Anyway, so after the scene where we see that he was trying to make amends, we go to Falcon at the bank with his sister trying to get a loan, which in my mind is blowing my mind because he works closely with Tony Stark. How has Tony Stark not set up a fund for all these people? Like, I don't understand this part.
So to be clear, because I looked this up and I looked at some I watched this twice and then I looked at some recaps after just out of curiosity. And the episode kind of says this but kind of brushes over it. It kind of hints that the sister refuses to take his money.
Yeah, so I kind of got that too. It was like half and half. It was half he didn't have money and half the sister refused to take the money.
All right.
So they were
going at him both. With billions of dollars worth of equipment as the Falcon, the US is, but then they don't pay him. Of course they pay him, but I think she's not taking the money.
Well, what I got from their conversations is that like after their parents died, it was decided that she was to take over the family business and whatnot while he goes off to join the Army or Air Force. And therefore all that is her responsibility, and she's been handling it the best she can. But he's coming back to take care of his family and whatnot. So,
I got from it that she felt that he abandoned them by going to the Army, that she resents his decision to go to the Army, and that she wouldn't accept any money that he made from the Army. That's what I got from that.
So I got a little got a little bit of a different feeling from her. I don't think she resents him in any way. I think she realized, what he sacrificed and what he did and what he gave to humanity as a whole. But that doesn't change the situation, right?
Right.
So like regardless, you still weren't here. Right.
Yeah.
Whether or not you were doing something noble, and I'm proud of you for it. I love you for it. But you still weren't here, and I still had to pay everything myself, and I still had to do all this myself, regardless of what you were doing.
It did seem though. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It did seem though that she didn't want to accept his money, right?
Yes, I think so.
And then, but she would accept his help in trying to get a loan from the bank.
So that's another issue I have. So let's assume that I think it's very safe to assume that he has money. I think that's a safe thing to assume is that he has money. If not himself from Tony Stark, the government's paying him at least a couple $100,000 a year. He's got at least enough to make something off of. So if he puts his name, if he has a job, if he puts his name on a loan. As somebody who's making, $200K, blah, 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 at least, he's got good credit. They're going to approve him. Like, I don't get the part where
the debts were outstanding. But I think generally that whole thing with the sister just kind of encapsulates the, Avengers superhero world versus the modern day person.
Yeah. I personally think the entire point of this scene was just to show that being a hero has cost him things in his personal life. Yeah. I think that's all it was really about. Because in reality, right, the mom, if she was actually like, we're going to sell the home and I can't feed my 2 kids, he would not agree to this whole premise of, oh, but you okay, you won't accept my money. He'd be like, no. Yeah. Your kids are starving. Mitch, you're going to take this money.
You're still, but you are making the assumption, and I am as well, but it has not been established. You're making the assumption that he has money.
Yeah,
we don't know necessarily if he has money or not, because he does explicitly say.
Obviously not, or else he would.
I mean, because he did, because the bank accountant did address this, right? He's like, doesn't Tony Stark put up a separate account? He's like, that's not how that works. A lot of this is goodwill. And, maybe he doesn't have money. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't, because they specifically address that point. And the first rule of cinema is you don't put something in that you're not going to use, right?
Yeah.
There's no banana in the background unless somebody's going to slip on it later, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
you
true.
don't put that scene in there where he says, that's not how it works, unless that's what you're getting, right?
Yeah, and again, there's a bunch of underlayers throughout the entire episode that just kind of shows how the modern day is going for the rest of the world.
Yes,
and this is just to show what's going on, how they're dealing with it.
The banker does say that the economy is kind of in the straits after everybody returned from the blip, because now there's all these more mouths to feed, fewer jobs, all that. So he says that, and then there is. Michael, you're right also. It doesn't actually say how much money they need from the bank. I mean, they could be trying to get a huge loan. They are talking about fixing what looked to be a massive fishing boat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
it's at least $30. At least $30.
I don't know if it's a charter boat or what, but especially when you're talking boats and ships, I mean, depending on the size, you can get into the millions.
It kind of looked like it kind of looked like a shrimping vessel, wasn't it? Wasn't she like kind of selling food and stuff? Didn't it seem like it was a shrimping boat?
The only thing that I know is that he talked about, as an alternative source of income, he talked about for her to charter the boat out too, not only for fishing but also for chartering.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, I love how we're recapping the Winter Soldier and Falcon, and we're talking about fishing boats and the economics of that shit.
Okay.
I know, isn't it so funny?
Superhero
Isn't it so funny? I mean, you come from the Falcon fighting, all these things that Thanos has brought up, and now we're talking about the family business and things like that, and he goes home, and it's kind of funny because people recognize him as the Falcon, but there's still life to live, and there's still real life.
But it sounds like we all made the kind of mental note, or in my case, the physical note, that it is a little odd, at least, to see a situation where we have a character that is responsible for several $1 billion worth of technology, but has $0 to his name. It's just a little weird that we find ourselves in that circumstance.
He could very easily turn into Falcon the villain and sell a little bit of tech. And
but I do think that it does set kind of a tone for where he's at and what his personal considerations are moving forward into the series.
And I'm looking forward to it. I think
next scene is really important.
Yes. So the next scene kind of sets up a little bit more of who the villain of the story of the season, I think, is going to be. The next scene is Falcon receiving a text from Torres telling him to get on a secure channel. Torres then sends him a video of Torres's efforts to find out what the situation is over there, and basically he videotapes a superhuman, some type of superhuman, or at least I think they're superhuman. I'm sure they're thinking it too, because I mean, I don't think a normal person, even Arnold Schwarzenegger, could kick somebody 200 or 20 feet into a pole.
For sure superhuman. We can definitely.
So I agree, superhuman, and if we're gonna follow the traditional Marvel recipe for success, we're probably talking about a superhuman that has the super soldier serum.
That's actually great. I did not think about that.
Because the tradition, as we all know, it's been established several times over, the only exception being team movies and Spider-Man movies. Anytime that there is a solo movie, well, I guess Thor, not really, but anytime there's a solo movie, the Marvel recipe is good guy versus bad version of the good guy.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
We just watched WandaVision.
Now.
Similar. Yeah. We've seen it so many times. The first Iron Man, the second Iron Man. They're both the exact same plot. Captain America #1. The Red Skull is just a bad version of Captain America. The Hulk, the Abomination. Right? We've seen it. Doctor Strange, evil Doctor Strange. We've seen it 100 times now. It makes sense that in a show that we all believe to be about establishing the new Captain America, that there's going to be a villain that probably has relation to Captain America. So that's my guess, of course. But
well, yeah, it
he
makes sense, and it looks
demonstrated,
like he has similar powers and
yes,
whatnot.
his abilities don't seem outside the realm of what the super soldier serum could do
Yeah.
so far.
And I'm sure that's honestly where Bucky probably gets in. He probably knows who this person is after looking at him a couple times, and that's why Bucky and Falcon end up teaming up together.
Maybe.
Could very well be
That's
it.
one theory, but that is a big question. How did they hook up?
And then the next thing that happens
that
after
stuff.
that is his sister turning on the TV, and we see that there is a new Captain America.
Now this one's going to be important. So obviously, yes, the government wanted
So Mitch,
Falcon to
if
turn
you
into-
know who it is, don't spoil it.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
So
No?
I have
Oh,
read.
you gotta tell me once we're done with this.
All right. I have read articles that bring up a character from the comics that this could possibly be. So I have an idea of who it may be, but we'll talk about that when it reveals that. I don't want to just shoot off things that may or may not be spoilers.
Awesome.
But at the very least, and we see this on Sam's face because it actually reflects to Sam, and it shows him kind of close his eyes and look down and cover his face.
It's gotta sting.
It's very clear that the government wanted him to turn in the shield, not for this exhibit, but to make their new Captain America. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to move forward because now, number one, we have to assume, or not assume, but we have to see, is this Captain America a metahuman or not? Does he have a super soldier serum? Does he have any superpowers? Or is he just some dude?
Yeah, it's some political stunt.
Exactly. Is he just some dude? We don't know. I mean, Captain America was originally used as a political stunt to raise funding for World War II, right? To sell government bonds.
Right, exactly.
We have the Falcon. The Falcon is essentially superhuman because of his tech. We have the Winter Soldier, who is also essentially superhuman because of his Wakanda tech. We don't know if this other guy is superhuman. We know that the Flag Smashers have somebody that is superhuman, probably not because of tech, probably something inherent to who they are or super soldier serum, which is what we're thinking, right? So that's the end. I mean, that's a pretty big cliffhanger because it opens you up for what's going to happen next Friday.
Yeah.
You know who I think it is?
More about this guy?
I think it's there's two options. Either one, it's a young Steve Rogers for some reason. And then two, it could be Lex Luthor.
Luthor. Yeah.
You know what?
I'm with
Lex
Luthor.
Luthor. That was a great.
That's it.
Great guess.
Sorry, guys, we spoiled it for you.
Oh no!
So obviously, like I said, I'm not going to give my insight on who this is because I actually think I know who this is. But I think we're ending up in a circumstance that is kind of a Marvel equivalent to a DC comic and animated movie, which is the death of Superman. When Superman dies at the hands of Doomsday, there are several different potential Supermen that rise up. There's Cyborg Superman, who is a villain. There's Steel, who is a hero in a mechanical suit. There's Superboy. And there's a Superman clone made by Lex Luthor. Right? Ultimately, spoilers for Superman, Superman comes back as not actually dead. But we're kind of ending up with that now, where Captain America is presumably dead. We have the Falcon, who we know to be his favored choice.
Yeah.
We have the Winter Soldier, who is a
who's a
fan favorite.
Yeah.
In the comics, has the foundation to be Captain America, and is an established character. And then, of course, we have this Flag Smasher dude that may be a villain or may actually be somehow related to the Super Soldier Serum, and new Captain America. Captain America. We don't know.
We're talking about the new Captain America.
There's a lot of questions to be answered in the next episode. I think it was definitely set a good precedent.
All right.
Cole, what would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10?
Toughie. I mean, like we were saying before, it was awesome seeing, the MCU moving forward, seeing all our, or a lot of characters that we've seen before. So that was just awesome to see in general. So I'll give it a good B plus.
That is not on a scale of 1 to 10, but go ahead, Mitch.
Well, 8.7.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'm kind of with Cole in the air of an 8 out of 10. I liked it a lot. It definitely is spiking my interest. There's a lot of good stuff to work off here. The only parts I'm taking from is just what we already discussed. I think that those Bucky scenes go a little bit too long and steal a little bit too much. I would like to have seen more of Bucky and the beginning steps of his progression in this story than just, yup, he's really guilty about what's happened. He's 107 years old and he's just trying to make amends and he has no direction in life. I'd like to have seen a little bit more than that. I mean, they did tell us that Sam is trying to keep a friendship with him, which is kind of interesting because remember in the movies they don't really like each other. They're both just there because of Steve.
Well, in Civil War, definitely.
Yeah.
Because they have that funny quabble between those two. And I think later on, I don't really remember them interacting too much after that.
Well, remember in Infinity War, they don't really interact much, and then they both die with the snap. So
yeah, but they seemed pretty chummy when Steve was going back into the past, and I would say they were on good terms and whatnot.
I imagine that their friendship will build throughout this show, but I have so I would say 8 out of 10. How about you, Michael?
Dude, I was so excited when this thing first came on and I got to see, Falcon destroying a bunch of people and the Winter Soldier in his dream sequence. That reignited. See, WandaVision didn't reignite the Disney feeling in me because there wasn't any of that, amazing Winter Soldier or Civil War or anything like that inside of WandaVision. But in this, it is absolutely on par. It has the same cinematography. It has the same stylized fighting. It has the same everything in it. Good dialogue. The storyline seems interesting. I'm going to give it a solid 8.45. I think. I think that's where I'm at. I'm super intrigued. I'm super intrigued with it, and I really liked it. And I'm looking forward to the next episode. WandaVision, never really looked forward to the next episode. Just kind of watched in sequence. But this one, I'm actually looking forward to the next episode.
I don't know. I liked WandaVision, and if you followed Scarlet Witch and Vision. Like you say, oh, they're back, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, so the Scarlet. See, that's the thing. Scarlet Witch and Vision was great in it. I wish it was more of them and less of everything else. That's the thing. Yeah. But in any case,
and that's something we might review later and talk more about because I think I fall somewhere between you guys with it. But I wrote down a bunch of discussion points and questions, but I'm thinking that most of these are better suited for later on in this series when we have a little bit more info.
Yeah, and to be fair, we are at 53 minutes already. So
there's one last question I'd like to ask you guys before we kind of wrap this up. Do you think that Chris Evans makes a cameo in the show?
Maybe as a flashback, but who knows?
I mean, I would even accept that. I'm just curious. Do you think we ever see Chris Evans?
Chris Evans, okay, I would say flashback, definitely. That's an easy thing for Marvel to do, and I'm pretty sure
is it a flashback to already filmed footage, or is it?
I think it's new. I think they bring him in.
I'm sure they could bring him in. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's what I'm asking about. Do we see Chris Evans in a new footage?
I think we see Chris Evans in new footage, and I'll go one further. I think we see old Chris Evans.
All right. See, I'm hoping. I'm hoping we see old Chris Evans, and if we do, I bet you it's in the penultimate episode, leading up to the final episode. We see him, if we see him. But I'm hoping we do.
Cole, did you have a last question?
No, I did not.
Oh, I thought you texted me that you had a last question. Oh, that was Mitch that texted me that we had a last question.
Sorry.
That was gotcha. Oh, gotcha. All right, guys.
Well, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Last question.
What was your last question, Cole?
Who's this Captain America? Who's the Middle East bad guy? How are the Winter Soldier and Falcon going to meet up? Those are my
Just find
last
out,
guess.
bro. You gotta watch the show.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta watch the show.
The next episode will hopefully reveal at least one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you hung in with us, that is awesome. That is amazing. Hopefully it was like some type of commute. We might put this as a podcast so people can listen to it, because I don't know if somebody's going to sit at their chair for an hour to watch this. But we had a lot of...
Cole looks really pretty. I'd sit and watch him.
That's true.
That's right.
We had a lot of fun filming this. This was really cool. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep going even if nobody watches. So yeah.
All right, guys.
You guys, anything else to say? I can't really.
Yeah, just comment below if you have any questions. We will review comments and address them in our next episodes. You can always shoot us an email at dweebculture@gmail.com, and we'll have more plugs for you guys on the development of our websites and our social media later on. We're really excited to start this. We're really excited for any of you that are joining us right now on this journey. And we're really excited for Falcon and the Winter Soldier and to see what happens next.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And because I know I'm going to get comments about this, yes, I am aware I'm wearing a Superman t-shirt during a Marvel review. I actually didn't think about that until we started filming. So yes, that is definitely a faux pas that I was not aware of until I saw myself on screen.
Now,
For shame.
yeah, well, Cole's at least representing Disney with his Star Wars shirt.
That's true.
So.
Well, actually, yeah, this is a band that's like kind of taken the Star Wars thingy.
Imagery?
Yeah.
All right, so next episode we all have to wear Disney stuff. I have lots of Disney things because I used to work at Disneyland.
Can do that. Yeah, I could absolutely do that.
I used to work at Disneyland, so I have
sure.
plenty of Disney things to wear. In any case, all right, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Look out for our next episode. Our next episode will come out later after we review the second episove.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your evening, and until next time, live long and may the force be with you.
Indeed.
Yeah, bye.